Alrighty people, what's going on? This is Renegade Operative, and today I will be doing some off-the-cuff impressions on the DMC5 demo. This demo was for Xbox Live, but it got released on PSN and Xbox with a new devil breaker called Punchline, and we're going to get right into it. So our first player character is Nero. Unfortunately, we don't have access to Dante and V in this demo, so there's not much to glean about those two, so we're going to focus on Nero today. Nero feels exactly like his counterpart from DMC4, except for the breaker arm. The breaker arm is what is interesting about Nero now. He had his arm ripped off, and now he has like these prosthetics in play. The arms that I played in the demo, I had Overture, which is like an electronic arm that does a push. You could also like do a grab with that arm, and he'll essentially put like a dart in the enemy, and you can shoot it and blow up like everyone in the area. It's really good for crowd control. There's also the Punchline arm, which essentially functions as you would expect. It's a motherfucking rocket doll arm from Metal Gear Solid 5, which is pretty good. You can blast the rocket arm and punch enemies and do like everlasting damage while they're in the air or if they're on the ground. You could also ride on the arm like a fucking surfboard or something. You could ride it in the air. It's crazy, man. You could do crazy flips and tricks and hit enemies and get like more style that way. You could also use the Gerbera as well. Gerbera is like a defensive arm in some sort of ways. Like you can jump in the air and get away from enemies like real fast. You could also do a laser beam attack that is devastating to either people in the directional area when you're on the ground pointing like right to them, or if you're doing like a laser arm in the air, which affects enemies in the area. The breaker system is a bit of a risk reward system because you can get attacked while doing an animation with the breaker arm, and as usual it'll break because the enemies did an attack, and that means you have one less arm in your inventory. There's also the case of the breaker system being used to escape grabs, so you can break an arm to escape a grab and forget all that everlasting damage that an enemy might do to you, and you could also animation cancel with the breaker arm. So it depends on how good you really are. Do you think you're going to get hit in that situation and you want to break an arm real quick to escape, or do you really need all your arms for the upcoming boss fights, the upcoming enemy fights? Hell, if you think you're a total badass and you want to go into a fight without any arms, you could just go into your loadout and fix up the loadout to be no arms in general. You'll have Blue Rose and Red Queen. I really liked the whole store system that they introduced. It's simple but effective, and I think the store was new for this demo. So you have like the choices of the moves that you could buy. Unfortunately in the demo we could not try those moves, so for beginners I can understand this being a little bit complicated, but wait until the full game and you should have, you know, the void available where you can go in and practice moves. But you can buy moves, you can buy arms, you can assign arms only in the menu with Nico and the van and everything, like before mission, and then during the telephone operation where you call her, she comes in and you go in and you arrange your loadout from there. This game is the quintessential meaning of fun. You could do so many fun moves. If you're a DMC player, you're not really lost with the moves that they implemented. It plays essentially like DMC4. If you're a DMC4 DMC3 guy, you're going to pick this game up rather fast and know what you're doing. For beginners, they do have like tutorials that flash on screen. You know, they do show you how to do certain moves. It's kind of confusing at first with the breaker system. I'm not going to lie, I didn't get used to the breaker system immediately. I had to learn you had to hold down a button to do more damage, watch the arm glow, and then use it in battle. But once you learn, you'll be pretty much good to go. Also, they reworked how the Blue Rose is. So instead of having like a charge shot which you hold down, you could just simply hold down the button and Nero will reload his gun, and he will have like 3 powerful bullets that he could fire simultaneously. The problem that I had with this is that when you charge your weapon, you can't really let the button go, and you'll end up firing your first shot prematurely. So that's kind of weird, but I guess with the remappable control scheme, that should be no problem remapping that to a trigger button and having fun with it that way. The controls felt really smooth. They felt really great. The inputs were really great. The game runs really great on the RE engine. Hell, it even runs better in some instances than Resident Evil 2 Remake. Hell, I know this game runs better than Resident Evil 2 Remake. They are doing black magic with this RE engine. It looks gorgeous. I know I was hesitant about the art style. I prefer DMC looking a bit, exaggerated in the art style, a bit gothic, but what they did here, they did an amazing job. The characters all look animated gorgeously. I mean, there's no other way to put it. This game is beautiful on performance, on characters, on how everything looks. It has that appeal to it, that little street edge going on with the hack and slash and shit. I love that shit. I love the environments, and I love the characters, and I love the animations, man. It looks so fucking good. Again, like I said, I had problems with the controls at first. Took some getting used to. I accidentally broke 2 arms, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I would figure like the L1 button was the lock on button, and that was it. So I kept breaking arms immediately, but once you get over the hurdle and know the controls, it's pretty streamlined. It's the most streamlined DMC game I played since DMC 3, and that's really saying something. They really did a good job on those controls. So far, gripes with the game. I mean, like I said, it feels very good. It feels like a better DMC4. Some people said the game feels slow. I really didn't get that out of the experience. I don't think it feels slow at all. I assume when people say that they think that Devil May Cry 5 is slow, maybe it's the lack of turbo mode. Who knows? Personally, my philosophy on turbo mode is so fucking weird, dude, that it doesn't even make any sense. I can't play Devil May Cry 3 without turbo mode because I feel like that game in particular feels so slow without it. And I can't play DMC4 with turbo mode because I feel like it fucks with my inputs, So I cut turbo off for DMC4 and I leave it on for DMC3. Maybe I'm weird like that. I also can't play the reboot without turbo as well. I need that shit on at all times, fam. Every singular second is always on. That being said, it is on my wish list that turbo mode should be in the game, and Matt Walker got this suggestion 1,000 times, so he knows. Hopefully it is in the final product. If not, hopefully it comes as a free update like Bloody Palace did for DLC. The animations were a little awkward at first with the way Nero runs and pivots and scurries about. That took some getting used to, and I wasn't used to the way he was running around. Maybe it's the fact that I played DMC4 a little bit too much and I wasn't used to the new animations in this game, but once you get used to them, they're pretty fine. I did have a problem with whiffing enemies at certain points, but I just zoomed the camera out and I had a better experience overall. But yeah, don't have the camera way too close in the options menu, otherwise you might have the point where the camera tries to be dynamic and tracks the character, and then you wind up seeing shit like whiffing enemies. You don't know what's going on. It's zooming in, zooming out. So I thought that was kind of weird. I think if that was a legitimate problem, then the camera needs to be a little bit tighter. There really wasn't any platforming in this demo. I think you can get certain items. I kind of found getting on the horse a little bit difficult, but I don't think it's going to be like that in the full game. I wish there was a meter at the bottom of the screen, the bottom right, that showed you when a devil arm is about to break, because I would like to know. I'm riding on punchline. I don't know when the fuck is gonna break. I know the arm turns red in the sub menu, but I'm not sure if it does that visually, maybe have a visual cue about when the arm is going to break. I would really like to know, so I can like know, hey man, I'm fighting this enemy, I'm really using this thing, when is it gonna break? Am I gonna break it manually? Should I break it now? It's about to break here, you know. I think intermediate players like myself, I really want to know when this stuff is happening so I can break properly in the middle of combat. I just want to know with the meter being there. I think they should add one. I also think it would be a nice addition if they would allow you to put the devil breakers in some sort of switching mechanic, because you can get an arm that switches the devil breakers, but it's only DLC, and I think people who don't get that deluxe edition DLC might be left out of the equation, so that kind of sucks. I kind of wish that was in game for people to buy, but you know, it's crying over spilled milk. I think the game runs well. I think this might be contender for best hack and slash of the year, honestly. Devil May Cry 5, man, it's really good. I don't think people should sleep on this game. I think these developers understand what makes Devil May Cry work, which is the over-the-top nature, the intricate nature of some of the new additions like the Devil Bringer, and bringing back, you know, some of the classic gameplay that was really in depth. I think pros are going to eat this game alive, and that is a good thing. So I cannot wait until this comes out on March the 8th. Definitely my impressions are high from this demo, and I think once again Capcom did well with this. Hopefully they continue this streak of being good in the future, but we'll see what happens. Anything can happen, but this game is looking pretty hot right now. Anyway, this is Renegade Operative signing off. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my first impressions of Devil May Cry 5, and I will see you guys next time. Hopefully for the next review I do something comic related. I'm gonna make a poll, so remember to follow me on Twitter at RenOperative_, and I will see you guys there and here later.